Tonight, when the sun goes down, you will flip a switch. Light will flood the room. You will not think twice about it. But for almost the entire span of human existence, that switch did not exist. When the sun set, the world simply disappeared. And your ancestors did not sleep through that disappearance. They sat awake inside it, hearts pounding, listening. You inherited that heartbeat. Right now, somewhere in your brain, a small structure called the amygdala is still running a program written hundreds of thousands of years ago. It does not know about streetlights. It does not know about locked doors. It only knows one thing. Darkness means you cannot see what is coming for you. And for most of human history, something usually was. Why does a fear this old still live inside a species this modern? That is the real question. And the answer is far stranger than simple superstition. Start with the obvious fact. Humans are not built for the dark. Your eyes are tuned for daylight, color, detail. At night, that system collapses. Shapes blur. Distances lie to you. A branch looks like an arm. A shadow looks like a shape crouching low. This is not weakness. This is a mismatch. Your ancestors evolved as a daytime species on a planet shared with nighttime predators. Lions hunted at dusk. Leopards hunted at night. Early hominins, without claws, without great speed, without thick hides, were exposed the moment the sun dropped. The evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse has spent decades studying why fear exists at all. His answer is almost uncomfortable in its simplicity. Fear is not a flaw in the system. Fear is the system working correctly. Nesse describes something he calls the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector that goes off constantly, even for burnt toast, is annoying. But a smoke detector that fails during an actual fire is fatal. Natural selection, he argues, favors the annoying alarm over the silent one. It is cheaper to flinch at a shadow 1,000 times than to ignore the one shadow that is actually a predator. So think about what that means for the dark. A false alarm at night costs you a racing heart and a few lost minutes of sleep. A missed threat at night could cost you your life, and worse, it could end your genetic line entirely. Which ancestor do you think you descended from? The one who slept soundly through every strange sound in the grass? Or the one who woke instantly, listened, and often overreacted? You already know the answer. You are descended from the nervous ones, the watchful ones, the ones who treated darkness as guilty until proven innocent. But there is a second layer to this fear, and it has nothing to do with predators at all. It has to do with each other. For most of human history, survival was never a solo project. Small bands of humans lived, hunted, and slept in tight physical proximity, because a lone human at night was a dead human. Group sleeping was not comfort. It was armor made of bodies. The anthropologist Carol Worthman, who has studied sleep patterns across dozens of traditional societies, found something striking. In many hunter-gatherer groups, sleep was never a single deep block. It was fragmented, watchful, layered. Someone was almost always semi-awake. The group functioned like a single organism with rotating eyes. Now picture what happens when you strip a person out of that group and place them alone in the dark. Isolation at night is not just uncomfortable. To an ancient nervous system, it reads as a 5-alarm emergency. No group. No eyes watching your back. No safety in numbers. Your body still runs this calculation today, even when you are perfectly safe behind a locked door in a modern city. That tight feeling in your chest when you are home alone at night is not irrational. It is ancestral math running on outdated data. Here is where the story gets stranger. Because somewhere between 1 million and 800,000 years ago, something happened that should have ended this fear completely. Humans learned to control fire. The primatologist Richard Wrangham has argued that fire may be the single most transformative tool in human history, more important even than the wheel or written language. Fire cooked food, which made calories easier to absorb, which may have literally helped grow the human brain. But fire did something else too. It pushed back the dark. A fire at the edge of camp was not decoration. It was a boundary line between the visible world and the unknown one. Predators avoid open flame, insects scatter from it, and humans, gathered around it, could finally do something they could almost never do in true darkness. They could relax, just slightly, together. This is likely where storytelling was born, not in daylight, not during the busy work of hunting and gathering, but in that flickering circle of firelight, when the group had nothing left to do but talk. Anthropologist Polly Weissner studied the Hoansi people of the Kalahari and found that daytime conversation was mostly practical, gossip, complaints, logistics. But nighttime conversation around the fire shifted almost entirely into story. Myths, legends, warnings passed down through generations. The dark, ironically, may have built human imagination. So the fire did not erase the fear of darkness. It gave humans a small, glowing island to manage it. And that distinction matters because it explains something about you right now. You do not fear darkness itself. You fear darkness without a boundary. You fear the version of night where there is no fire, no wall, no group, no light switch between you and whatever might be out there. Think about what modern humans do the instant real darkness threatens to surround them. You turn on a lamp. You leave a hallway light on. You check that your phone is charged, glowing, ready. These are not habits. They are fires. Small, electric, 21st century fires, built for the exact same reason your ancestors built theirs. Here is the twist most people never consider. Your fear of the dark was never really about seeing monsters. It was about losing information. In daylight, your senses tell you almost everything about your environment instantly. At night, that stream of information nearly vanishes. Your brain hates a vacuum of information more than it hates almost anything else, because uncertainty, to an ancient nervous system, is indistinguishable from danger. This is why a strange noise at 2 a.m. feels more threatening than the exact same noise at 2 p.m. It is the same sound. Your circumstances are identical, but your brain's confidence in its own safety assessment has collapsed, and fear rushes in to fill that gap. Psychologists have a term for the mildest version of this experience: subclinical nyctophobia, the everyday uneasiness around darkness that almost everyone feels but few people ever name. Not a phobia strong enough to be diagnosed, just an old alarm, quietly persistent, running exactly as designed. And maybe that is the real discovery here. This fear was never a glitch to be fixed. It was never something broken in you. For a species with no claws, no night vision, and no fur, darkness genuinely was one of the most dangerous conditions on Earth. Every generation that survived it did so by staying alert, staying close to others, and staying near the fire. You are the end result of that unbroken chain of caution. So the next time the lights go out and something in your chest tightens, do not brush it off as irrational. It is not irrational. It is ancient. It is the same instinct that kept a small band of humans alive on an open plain, listening for movement in the grass, waiting for morning. You will still flip that switch tonight. Light will still flood the room instantly, effortlessly, exactly like it always does. But somewhere underneath that convenience, a much older self is still standing at the edge of an invisible fire, watching the dark, and quietly, permanently, refusing to look away.